the Republicans passed and gave ICE and CBP $170 billion. Their normal annual budget is $8 to $10 billion. So they have money. And this is the point. This is what we're saying is if you're going to send out immigration enforcement in this country in an abusive manner, which we have seen across this country from Los Angeles to Chicago to Minneapolis, abuse citizens' rights, kill people, then we are going to hold you accountable for reforms. And you know what the reforms we're asking? No different than every law enforcement agency across this country already complies with. From our local law enforcement to state law enforcement. I was attorney general for 8 years. I know. I worked side by side with them. These are common sense reforms, keep our community safe, protect the constitutional rights of citizens, continue that kind of social contract of trust with the community, and we keep them safe because, by the way, these are taxpayer dollars that these federal workers are using, these ICE agents. So this is just common sense, and I can't stress this enough. What the Speaker is talking about is dead on arrival in the Senate. So let's get back to a time, let's pay our workers, let's have a separate conversation about ICE and CBP and the reforms that are necessary, but stop using these federal workers as political pawns.
To your point, you know, we have been around this block before. It's dead on arrival, and in a way, this is a conversation we've had repeatedly over the last 40 or so days. I have to say, though, you know, for a TSA worker listening to the Speaker there or who's watched the President in the last few days say that he's going to be able to find this unilateral mechanism to pay them anyway, talking to the Office of Management and Budget to try and figure out what this looks like, you know, they may feel a sense of relief from hearing that the President is going to take action like that. Do you know if he can actually legally get that done? Is that something they can get?
The point is this. Let me just say this, Katie. The point is we are the appropriators. We have already negotiated TSA's budget in an appropriation, and all we have to do is pass it. So if you want to do it legally, Mr. President and the Speaker, then pass this appropriation and fund it and quit playing games with them. That's the easiest thing. The Senate's already done its job. We passed it out early this morning. These workers, the appropriation's done. Now the House needs to do its job, and the President needs to sign it. And stop playing games. This is the problem and the frustration I think so many people have in this country, include our workers who are political pawns. They see Congress, they see this administration playing political games. I was in the negotiations on these reforms. Every time we worked together to get somewhere, the President interjected and changed the terms of the negotiation. He added the SAVE Act to it, right? He added transgender sports to it. When we were in the middle of negotiating, then he decided he's going to send TSA agents into the airports. He kept changing the terms of it, making it very difficult, quite honestly, for some of our Republican colleagues who were in the room with us to finalize some of these reforms. So here's where we are today in the Senate. And it's an example of the Senate finally doing its job, coming together. And I want to stress again, it was by unanimous consent. What does that mean? One senator in the Senate could have objected to this and stopped it, and they did not.
You mentioned it briefly there, but something that I've been surprised that more people aren't talking about, calling out more consistently over the last few days, is the extent to which the President has linked the fate of TSA workers and their ability to put food on their tables with ICE and the SAVE Act, which for anyone at home wondering what the SAVE Act is, it's been described as the voter ID bill, but the reality is it goes far beyond, you know, presenting your license at a voting location. It really is a sort of show your citizenship papers in order to vote bill. Why do you think the President seems so focused on tying the fate of those two seemingly unrelated things together?
Because his current policies in this country are just harming Americans. Americans are suffering right now because of his policies. They can't afford groceries. I know in Nevada, individuals in my state are paying $300 a month year over year for their groceries. Fuel prices are rising. Energy prices are rising. You can't afford a home. A lot of the policies, because of this administration, his blanket tariffs, his rhetoric with Canada and other countries is having a depressing effect even on our international tourism and tourism in this country. People feel this crunch. They're not going to spend money if they don't think that they can afford putting grocery or paying their bills. It is the policies of this administration that is not addressing the affordability crisis. The President knows that. He knows he's going into a midterm. He hasn't addressed that issue for Americans, and he's concerned he's going to lose the midterm and Republicans will lose both control of the House and the Senate.
Yep.